Yeah, I it was awesome meeting you like after my event during Sailfest. It was incredible. Um and that was probably one of the greatest things I've done so far for the autism community. I think I definitely reached um a big audience, and I think this conversation will actually reach more people in the autism community, you know. Um been doing a lot of
I
thinking.
definitely,
Yeah, go ahead.
definitely feel the same way too. I mean, being here right now after years of going through the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through with my autistic journey, and especially the unmasking, to now be able to tell my story to basically everyone watching this. It's truly an honor, and it's honestly a big step for those like us, to break that cycle.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I done like lots of thinking about this, and and we're just and during this interview we're just gonna go over just like we're gonna bounce ideas, and we're gonna like start a conversation. And for everyone on here, please comment what you guys think. It's not just our ideas, but the whole community's ideas. But we're starting a conversation, and me and Blaine are going to do that because it needs to be done. There's a huge need, especially for adults on the spectrum, which is something I'm like really trying to focus on too, because I just see a big need for it. So I guess we'll start out with the first question that I have is, so in your opinion, what do you think the problems for adults on the spectrum have today? Like, um, mainly over 18 who are out the system of the government system, you know? Um, what are your thoughts about that?
So I definitely feel that the major problem that our community is really facing is that people are taking ideas and rumors about us through the eyes of the old generation, and they're implying it to the new generation. So when they see us, as far as the work environment, when we say we have autism, they tend to get a little skeptical about our job performance. And that can impact our mental view of ourselves too, because if we're seen as lacking or not good workers, then it impacts us really bad mentally. Not to mention too, like the struggle of balancing, trying to stay true to who we are as far as those with disability goes, while actually trying to find that training time to be able to work on social skills, to work on our sensory skills. Because unfortunately, despite the Autistic Disabilities Act that's supposed to protect us in the work environment, it really doesn't. I mean, the moment that we say that, oh, I'm autistic, they just look at us like, oh, really? Now we got to figure out either if we need to fully change how we do things here or we just don't hire you. And it's honestly disappointing. Like, I remember when I first started finding a job, it was very much difficult. And even through different programs that are supposed to help people with autism find work, they would always mention my autism. And they would be like, oh, nope, we don't want him. It came to a point where my mother and I proved that I had to tell them don't mention the autism. And it's disappointing, but that was the only way to actually find work, to
Um,
be honest, because it really became more ableistic in the work environment.
that discrimination is still out there. Yeah, it's terrible. Uh, I actually went through the same like discriminatory situations at work too. They tried to demote me. They I almost got fired from a job too. So it's out there. Um so I definitely do see that. I feel like the problem is though is I feel like there's definitely like good managers and hiring managers out there. I just feel like there's a lack in understanding autism and also like just there's just no like former formal like education about it. You know, we have like sexual harassment courses that we had to take, but I don't see any like autism courses in there. Like how to treat them and like
No.
what it is like. Yeah, that, because it's not just the hiring managers, it's the coworkers. So yeah, um,
Yeah.
so
And it's definitely much more than just work as well. It's definitely outside of the workforce too, because when people watch movies like, The Rain Man, for example, or different movies concerning autism, when people watch movies, they think that, oh, this basically implies to us. We are seen as more of the negative side of autism instead of the positive side of autism. There's so much more to us than just our triggers, our times when we clap our hands, or we just get into a state of confusion where we're listening to a conversation in a group and we just kind of take things literally, or there's certain words that we get confused by. And I know for my case, whenever I have conversations with people, when, for example, one of my dear friends basically and I were talking, and she basically told me, oh, I left something in your car. I would really need it quickly. And for me, my mind was thinking, oh, she needs it quick. So I better like schedule when to bring it her as soon as possible. It was like me rushing in my mind. Every time she didn't reply to let me know when I can give it to her, I'm like, ah. So at the end of the day, I would have to drive all the way to her address. And I'm like, here's your thing. I need to go.
people who don't don't understand autism, they don't really care. Some people don't really care, um, and they don't really have the time of day to like, actually hear what it is because all they think about is their way, the old generation, like you said. Um, so in your opinion too, like what do you think the best way to bring about like solutions um for people on the spectrum, um adults on the spectrum specifically as well. Like what do you think the best way to like go about like changing the narrative? Um, could it be like through a program or a course or like what are your thoughts?
So I definitely feel like the very first thing that we definitely need to do, we just need to break like this cycle that the young generation basically wove basically since World War II, when Hans Asperger basically made the first diagnosis of Asperger, and that became the umbrella of what autism is today. I feel like ever since Hans Asperger, all the way to those who called it autism, and even today, people basically believed that it was basically the only way to really make us a perfect citizen is through the ABA therapy. It's through looking at parents' point of view and being like, oh, I don't think the parents can do it, so we're going to take this child, we're going to medicate them. That has to stop. Because to me, I feel like if you rip a child away from a parent that's going to understand the child more as far as their disability goes than doctors who have limited to no experience in it, that's a big issue. that impacts them trauma wise. I mean,
I love
you
that.
look at
Yeah.
you definitely look at the idea that as for people with autism like us, we get traumatized easily. You basically take us away from our parents that we have grown connected with. We're going to be traumatized. We're going to question why is this happening, especially for young children. I feel
Uh,
like we need to actually tell those organizations like Autism Speaks, like those of DCF or any group and organization, we need to tell them that, hey, your time has basically ended. You tried to help those with autism, but you're not doing it perfectly. And it's really rooting to the point where it's not just people with autism like myself, it goes rooting to race as well. If you look at women of color, women who are black, they get the worst condition. They get the worst case as far as they go because they are seen as, oh, they're not autistic. They're just too wild and they need to be contained and all that.
I
I feel
love that
like,
you said that. Yeah. That's another issue that no one's talking about on the internet. So, I mean, if you're out there that is autistic and person of color like me, you're not alone. I tell myself every day, like, what can we do to bring resources to the people of color? And like that, I tell my parents every day, thank you. I'm like grateful because I'm able to have the resources. But yeah, the financial piece too is an issue too. I forgot to talk about. Yeah, the financial piece of getting the therapy, getting the resources, like yeah, that's an issue too. But yeah, you're absolutely right though. I love that. Um,
and and the beauty about like finance and all that, and as I've come to learn, we can basically cut their supply of money because let's face it, they're only trying to take money from those like parents and different people with special needs to put in their own pockets. But what I found is that for me, what helped me become this sociable, this confident to the point where I'm able to talk fluently, to be confident in what I say is not through these special needs programs that basically are like, oh, here's a bunch of blocks, make them into the shape like in the picture. No, it's going out. It's literally going out, whether it's going to a club or in my case, I was going to a speeding event where I basically learned how to communicate with different people in a short few minutes. And so like events and small things that people create. And it's basically less than, a good $100 to create these events. But events like those where you are actually out and actually communicating with different people, neurotypical and neurodivergent. I mean, doing programs like that are cost saving, I mean, that can really help those of the adults who have autism to
that
really,
that's what I think ASPE is about, is that we're not that you manage your autism better through experience. And I like that you went through the experience of like actually doing it, but you have the support on the side, and just not a lot of people have that support while they're doing the real thing. And that's wonderful to hear. I mean, um, you sound, it's like I said, like when I met you when I met you like last week, I was like, man, this is the guy that I need to come on my channel. So that's exactly, you see, the experience really does work, and he's living proof too. So I mean, if you guys aren't out there, um, trying and finding those resources, but we're here for you. Both of us are here for you too. So we're supports too. So
yeah.
their experience. So I like that. Yeah. Um, so, um, so why do you, I guess like, why do you see, in your opinion, why do you see like neurotypicals? people that are not on the spectrum, why do they always see the negative side of autism? What is perpetuating um the negative narrative, like instead of the positive? Um, we all know the
So
media
I,
is, but, like, yeah.
mhm. So I feel like as far as the neurotypicals goes, like when we first tell like loved ones, friends, future girlfriends slash boyfriends that we have autism, they get into the idea of disbelief because, you know, not all of us act like we're autistic, like quote unquote. And it's until we actually show signs of that autism, the triggers and the sensory overloads, the burnouts and the meltdowns, that when they look at the negative, they begin to ask questions. They begin to have all these ideas boiling in their minds like, is he capable of love? Is he capable of respecting me as a person? And of course, we absolutely say yes. We have the power to love. We have the power to respect everyone. We have the power to connect, but we have our own language too. So, great example I can think of is every nation of the world has a different language, a different dialect. Sometimes people make the sounds, and that's how they communicated back in the day. We have our own language too, and it's about extending the root and gaining that connection with neurotypicals who want to understand us. That, and if they don't, we have to bring that root and extend that leap to them to show our language and how we communicate with people, because that's the only way that their ideas of the negative become a positive.
Exactly, yeah. Um, yeah, it's just extending that offer, like, this is who I am. Yeah, I definitely had a hard time with that because there was a lot of people that I wanted to be friends with, but I just felt like they didn't kind of see the autism side, and I guess it kind of pushed them off. I guess it kind of pushed them off unconsciously or like unintentionally, because at the same time, I didn't really explain it well. It's like it's also like explain it in a way that they understand too, that are not on the spectrum, which is why I find to be an issue as well. Um, and yeah, we need to stop the cycle of like um, I guess that's why I say, like, it's that fear that is a continual cycle with what's coming out when you say like you're autistic. It's like, yeah, we need to stop that fear. It's just that we're different. It's not that um we're not capable, or like it's just that if you want to like say something we're incapable of being neurotypical. We're incapable of doing that. So I can tell you right now that there's no cure for this. I'm telling you. It's not a disease. Um
No,
we're gonna stay who we are, and the people who say like everyone's a little bit autistic, it's not true. And I'm talking, and we're both people on the spectrum, so and we still have struggles, even though we're talking, I guess, good. I mean, to most people, yeah, to all people on here, but yeah. So any of those myths, yeah, we need to cut those out. Um, so yeah, that we need to we need to just tell people like this is who we are, this is our mind, and we're not going to force ourselves to fit in the square hole that you force us to be in, you know. So we're taking that pledge, you and me both. Yeah. So um
exactly. And definitely need to, because I feel like this year and even in a few years ago, we are entering in this awakening that more and more people are not only realizing that they have autism after years of misdiagnosing, but we're coming to a year that many people are saying, why are we living in this divergent movie where we have to be one thing or another instead of everything? And so many people are on unmasking, like myself, and I see it all the time on TikTok and on Instagram. Those who are going through the journey, like I am, going through the unmasking, discovering things that they lost as a child, like the sensory,
Right.
what things come to. I mean, this is our time. This is the great awakening that was meant to happen. The world was not meant to be taken over by, neurotypicals. The world is meant to be run through those who are on the spectrum. The greatest speakers, the greatest minds in our world had autism. You look at Albert Einstein, you look at some of the great actors and all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson, apparently they claimed that he had autism, and look at what he did. So this world is definitely ours. This is our time to really voice out, break the cycle, and make this world better for us, for neurodivergents, and for neurotypicals to come together.
Exactly. Like, I mean, we are the driving force, but what needs to happen though is that neurotypicals need to be open to giving us those good environments that help us perform our best to our ability. We're not going to be able to show that if we're constantly like put in a box and like constantly getting medicated or like constantly being put down and ostracized or just small things, just small social situations that we don't really react to the same way as neurotypical. Um, so they need to be open-minded. But I also do say that I feel like people on the spectrum, they need to feel empowered and just choose not to be in a square box and do what is best to manage their autism too. So we all need to become advocates and to learn more about autism, learn about stories and things like that. Um, so I do, so I do encourage both sides, to come
Mm-hmm.
together and, and make a difference. And I think that's going to be, um, life changing for a lot of people. Um, which is actually, I guess I answered the next question. But yeah, it was, which side do you like think needs more work to bring the autism community in the right direction? But I think kind of a little bit of both. Now that I think about it, yeah. So it
Yeah,
goes.
most absolutely both sides.
I
We
answer.
literally just answer that like no problem.
Well,
And I like how we connect everything back to that idea of both sides coming together and resolving this and figuring out ways that we can coexist with each other and be able to connect with each other without the stereotypical discrimination that came from our forefathers and foremothers.
right, exactly. And the I and I like and so far I just want to say I like what you say, and it makes me feel very validated and very empowered that what I'm saying on the channel isn't, sometimes I did think I was crazy, you know, like playing all these vlogs on my channel talking about this stuff because, like, um do you ever feel like you're like making excuses for yourself? Like, do you ever feel that way when you're trying to advocate too? Like, sometimes I feel that way. And like, Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely have moments where I honestly question myself and try to make excuses as to why I'm acting the way I do or different decisions I've made. But that's honestly, that's the part of life that can be a trial, doing the choice that you've made and, questioning whether or not it was a good choice, but continuing forward on that choice, and seeing more of the positive in the choice we've made and not the negative, because we are prone to make mistakes. I mean, we're all about making mistakes and, building ourselves up to be better people, better people live on the spectrum. So, like
right.
my grandmother said, because my mother all her life tried to, stop me from making mistakes in life because she thought that one little mistake would cost me everything. But as my grandmother told me, she goes, make mistakes because those are going to be the stepping stones on who you are. They're going to help you gain wisdom through life and make you a greater person than what others believed that you were meant to be.
Yeah, because the more that I stayed on my values, the more blessings just came to me. Um, like I, I didn't think that I'll be able to move out and live on my own and do all these things. But I just had this like determination to like preserve my aut preserve my management of autism and um pursue my special interests in a huge way. Um, and because of that, I was able to like achieve my goal. So yeah, it's so it's very powerful. Like
And I
you gotta go through those mistakes. Um, like yeah,
and I think that, that is one of the great examples is that fear mindset of stepping out of your parents' homes and trying to be independent. For my through my journey, that was basically the most hardest decision since I was a teen when I questioned whether or not I should leave my parents because, yeah, they were very caring, they were very loving, they wanted what was best for me, but the way they did it kept me kind of trapped. They kept me basically in this mindset that you can make mistakes. We're trying to make sure that you have everything you need. But the price of that was me basically not having a life outside of school or outside of work in a way. And when I discovered how beneficial it was going to clubs and meeting all these people who each individual really taught me how to be more confident in my voice, in my decisions, and to be strong to who I am, in the spiritual sense and in the mental sense. My parents were kind of skeptical on the idea of me gaining those social skills from clubs, but I basically stood my ground. I basically told them that yes, there will be times when caution needs to be key, but I'm not going to turn down this great opportunity for me to learn social skills through the outside of clubs and all, and for me to become a speaker for not just for those who are like me, but for a whole group of different individuals with different personalities. So I had to make the difficult choice later on when things got really hard. And this was during COVID time when everything seemed hopeless and fear was there. I
yeah,
had to make the choice of basically leaving home, get writing a letter saying I can't stay here anymore. I need to move out. I need to make this journey on my own. And I spent the first year living in my car and learning about what life is like for a homeless, learning how to adapt to new environments, figuring out how to get food for myself, collecting bottles and cans to turn that into cash for food for myself, going to soup kitchens and learning the skills I need to keep myself relaxed while working at my job at the factory at the same time. So my parents had feared that I wouldn't make it in this world due to my autism and the fear that if I say the wrong thing, someone will either A, beat me up, or two, I would get myself in trouble and go to jail. And they really gave like the idea that I wouldn't last a few weeks and all. But honestly, after 3 years of being independent, going through being homeless, living in my car, to now living with a great roommate of mine who definitely understands my autism. He has his mental disabilities as well. And for us to coexist and make where we're at work out is definitely a great stepping stone and definitely what made me who I am today.
Well, that's a very brave story. I'm glad you shared that. And I went through a similar thing as well of like, it did start at the clubs, nightclubs for me, um, like to learn social skills. So I did the same course, I did the same course. And
What?
but what you I think what you did that is what you said was so inspiring that I actually had to learn after the fact, like of becoming my own person was the thing was that I was really into dance. I was really into like rave music. I didn't go to a lot of raves, but I have gone to like raves that play like electronic music and stuff. And the um the dance I was doing like on stage was not horn shuffle, but it has like a lot of connections to like the rave culture and stuff like that. And we all of course know that rave culture has a lot of like illegal drugs and just like bad people and things like that. And no, yeah, I was lucky to have a best friend that actually had good intentions and everything. I'm still best friends with them. Um, I One of the things that I regret, sort of, but I don't regret sometimes, but I think about it, is I I really want to be part of this dance crew, um, sideshow shufflers, and I kind of want to showcase my progress at Dream State 2022. Dream State was like it's all trance festival, which has really fast music, and um it was down in SoCal, in San Bernardino. So, and I've been to Kuwait before, and so I decided to like go down there because my best friend was gonna go down there too, and I just like really want to showcase my special interest down there, and just have an opportunity to be part of the team, but I decided last minute that I wasn't gonna go because I felt like because I was afraid of what my parents would think of me, like I didn't stand my ground.
Yeah.
Um, and that was the point where I had to grow up. That was the point of like, I need to be my own person. I need to be my own man. Like, that was probably I ain't gonna lie, it was a very childish decision, but I was just too afraid, you know. And now today, now I slowly I recover from that. I'm healed from it, but I'm still it's a struggle to like become the person I want to be and just like being confident in that. But talking to people like you just makes me feel better. Um, someone who understands, who's on the spectrum, not people that are not on the spectrum say, "Oh, I get you." So it's very healing. So,
Honestly, I'm honestly glad that I'm not the only one that found that nightclubs and all that were actually a beneficial thing. I mean, there's a whole stereotypical thing about nightclubs and all that, but what people don't realize that when you take away the stereotypicalness of a club, you get what autistic people and those on the spectrum need: conversation, human connection through touch, through comfort, through social time. I mean, those are the key things about a nightclub that we gain from it, despite the stereotypicalness. But I really am very glad to meet someone like you too, that have to learn, like I have, that okay, our parents know, they tell us all the time, oh, we know more than you. Like, you're not, you may be an old soul, but you don't know everything that we do. We got AIDS. What you got? I'm like, I got experiences that you guys don't. I mean, what we went through as children to now, between, from definitely for me, between the special education system, the special needs schools, definitely how they treated those like us. When you're misbehaving, they put you in the closet, little to no cushioning, all hard marble floor and walls. It's like, can our parents really say that they know more than us when we have gone through trial and tribulation and even ableism and discrimination that they can kind of understand, but at the same time, not even close to fully understand the whole
right.
cycle. So for us, and especially for you to basically say, enough's enough, mom and dad, you got me to this far. Now I gotta step out of my comfort zone and be independent, not just for my sake, but for my special interests. It's definitely a big step and definitely one that you achieved with flying colors. So,
And I know you have a special interest, poetry, and I start reading your poetry too. So I wanted to shout out to that. He is a poet, so make sure you check out his stuff. I'm gonna link your stuff um in the description below to read special interest because I truly do believe that you don't autistics don't really grow if you don't let them do their special interests. Like it really does help you achieve your character, achieve a better person. So we need that support. So we're going to support you in that.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So um to 1 second, I need to get my other questions because I thought I had them, but I need to go get them. So um so I just have like a few more questions here before we end. Um here. Um so one of the things that I find to be kind of annoying to some people, kind of annoying to me, um, is that neurotypicals say everyone's a little autistic. How do you respond to that?
Oh, how we respond to that. So I discovered back some years ago that those on the spectrum have this ability to basically tell who is autistic or not. So it's kind of like a little detector system. I learned this back in senior year when another person with autism actually came up to me, barely even knew me, barely even talked to me, and they go, "You have autism, don't you?" I'm like looking, I'm like, "How did you know?" And she goes, "Well, I'm autistic too, and we have this." And I don't know what you would call it. It's like the spiritual link to each other to know that we have are on the spectrum or not. But one of my good friends basically said the same thing, and my grandparents, they say the same thing. Like, we're all a little autistic. I'm like, no, we're not, because neurotypicals, what they call like anger and all that, it's 10 times worse for us than what you think. It's easy to find ways to calm down and all that. For us, it takes like special interest, comforting tools, comforting foods, just to lower ourselves to like halfway through. And then we're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get the rest down? So it's
Exactly, bro.
definitely
Exactly. Like people just don't understand that, which kind of leads to my next question too. It's like, um, this is gonna be a cheeky one. No one, I don't think no one on the internet has asked us, but when do you think when you're explaining your autism, right? When you're explaining like if a social incident happens, like you unintentionally hurt somebody's feelings, or like you kind of mismanage your time or something, or like you you do something that kind of out of the expense of someone else, like in a social situation, but then you explain your autism. When does it, in your opinion, does become an excuse though? Because that's like very controversial. It's like you can say um that you can have a social incident with someone who doesn't know about autism and you haven't disclosed it to them, and then you unintentionally hurt them, and then you try to explain it. It does, in my head, it does come across as like an excuse, but when do you think it is like an excuse, or when when is it not? Like, it's a hard like line, Um,
that is a very that's a very good question. And honestly, I've been uh, I've been going through situations like that where I try telling them it's the autism, but the problem is so many people, so many neurotypicals, when they find out that I'm autistic, even my closest loved ones and all of that, they're like, "I'm really not sure, Blaine, if this is your autistic self or this is you. Like, am I talking to my Blaine that's going through all this anger and all that, or is this the autism?" Like, I'm like, and I was trying to do my best to explain it, but then I came to the ultimate conclusion. Blaine and autism are not separate. Blaine and autism are like this. So, yes, we do experience things that neurotypicals do, you know, like the love, the anger, the sadness, and all of that. But as we discussed before, it's 10 times worse. So we can't really separate neurotypical anger with autistic anger. We,
that makes
we
sense.
really can't. It goes hand in hand for those on the spectrum. It's like the only way we can explain it is it's not my Blaine. Is I'm not just your Blaine. Your Blaine and autism are not supposed to be separate. They're
Yeah,
supposed to be
I
together.
used to I used to sound I when I talk to my parents, I used to sound like I'm assuming what they're thinking, but then I had to have a conversation with them and be like, um, this is what before I even said anything about what they said to me about what I did, I'm like, this is what I'm perceiving you are saying to me. I had to literally say that because naturally I would say, oh, why did you um you're thinking this, but I was really doing this. And it's like, but like I said, I had to be careful, you know. Um, I had to be have a great awareness. And now that you said you can't separate the autism, now I feel better about it, because then autism is, I wouldn't say it's your identity, but I mean it's part of you. It's like your operating system. It's like um that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, when I do try
The
it's like hard, because then I'm like I'm trying not to get out of the responsibility, but then I want to explain what helps me the best to like get me to let them have confirmation, and to let other people have confirmation that I am aware. Um, I guess in conclusion of this question, I think we just don't perceive the same. Like we simply just don't perceive the same way as neurotypicals. And as a result, our actions are different, our thoughts are different. And yeah, like so
oh yeah,
yeah,
is at the end of the day, they have their own dialect and way of speaking, and we have our own. And
yeah.
it's trying to find that center in between to truly understand one another to
Right.
better help ourselves.
Um, so the next question, this is the third to last question. So what do you think is missing in our current um resources? Like, what are we not doing for the adults on the spectrum? So far, I see a lot of people in the community have a lot of work-related resources, like we'll help you find a job and we'll do all this, and so what's missing?
That is pretty an easy, excellent question and an easy answer. Patience, love, faith, and hope. Because when you think about it, most of those organizations, they tend to focus more, and this is the sad, honest truth, especially for Autism Speaks, they focus more on the, and I say this and because I was born and raised by these words, but those of the middle to low spectrum of the autism, they tend to focus more on those people instead of those who are like us, who are in that in between, that bridge between neurotypical and neurodivergent in their eyes. And I feel like the problem is they tend to focus more on like how to make us into the perfect tool for the machine to run, how to be the perfect citizen for nations to run as they do without chaos and riots and all that, that they forget that we're not machines. We're not Rain Men. We are not Adams. We're not Dr. Sean Murphys. We're not Queenies from Heartbreak High. We are people. We are people with emotions. We are people who crave human connection, who crave that sense of comfort and touch, that crave to be part of a community outside of work, outside of their blueprint plan for a perfect nation that has no chaos. And if we actually took the time, if those programs took the time to add those like us into the blueprint and to basically strike out perfection, because perfection doesn't exist. You look at our world now, you look at our nation, it's not perfect at all. There is so much sorrow, there's so much pain, and a lot of people of our generation, we're suffering between bills, trying to pay bills while enjoying life, struggling through mental health to the point where we question if we should live on or not. You look at us as machines, you're going to get people who don't believe that they should continue on with this world, who face the mental traumas as we do. So, love, and patience. Patience being the most important because I've gone through my list of friends as you have where they only lasted a year at best before they're like, oh, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with Blaine because of his autism. I will never probably understand autism, and they leave without even questioning or they ghost you. I've only had the handful of loved ones in my life that actually have been there for me through the good times and the hard times, through the times where we enjoy each other's company and the times where we're like fighting and I get through the meltdown that we go through or the outburst and they have that hard time, but they still stay and go through and learn because at the end of the day, they want to know who we are. They want to love us. And it just takes patience and love to really understand and be part of our world.
Exactly. And the I just want to shout out like to you and just everybody on here watching this. Like, just thank you so much for your interest in learning about autism and understanding us and understanding the community because we know me and Blaine right here and everyone in the autism community, we have a lot of value to offer. We have a lot of value, and I believe that. And we can't give up on ourselves, and we can't, and the people that we love, we can't give up. So, um, we're gonna do whatever we can to like make some change, and I'm ready to make some change. And the first thing is, showing love and compassion for the community. And then next is education. I want to see more. There needs to be programs where there needs to be more education courses on autism that are not by people who are not autistic and not by medical physicians or anything like that stupid crap that they think they know because they wrote 10,000 dissertations. I don't care about that. All I care about is the person that's in this in the autism community saying, you know what, I want to write my message, my story, and we're gonna all come together as a community and figure out what message and how it needs to be educated. And that's like really important. And that's why I want to use this platform for more education. That's kind of personally what I want to see too. Like just like have like a big course on autism, where it came from, uh like what it is, like in a deeper level through an autistic point of view. I don't want to like do the scientific. There's too many scientific on the internet. Too much scientific.
Yeah.
And I kind of get bored of that and I get kind of CBIs from the science part.
Well,
So
it's like taking that science and giving it a little emotion. We need to give science a little emotion, even if we got to give it CPR of some love and just some understanding and compassion. Because all this science statistic stuff, what does that make us look like? It makes us look like Sheldon Cooper. We're now all Sheldon Coopers. We're definitely those who are very passionate in poetry for me, dancing for you, and singing and living. We're not the robots who talk about statistics about the 1 in 10,000 chance of having autism. Like, no, no,
the
we need
only
to get
stats
live.
the only stats that I care about are that 85% unemployed or underemployed. I mean, I guess that's the only statistic. It's like it's showing that we're being shut out and that you're not letting us be part of society. I mean, that's literally how I see it. It's like there shouldn't be an there shouldn't be 85% unemployment or underemployment. There shouldn't be. Like, I just totally disagree with that. And it's like something needs to happen there. You're not letting us
Right.
out. Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't really like that. So that actually leads to the next question. Um, how would you bring the unemployment rate down for people on the autism spectrum? Like, um, what would you do? Would it be a program, or like would it be a through consulting, or what would you do? Like to bring that to bring more people on the spectrum be part of society.
So I feel like the best way we can do this is like we talked about before, my idea of this program called the Star Caster, which was thought about between me and a good friend, good loved one of mine, and a place where we can come together and we can talk about the struggles we went through, the obstacles that we went through, inviting neurotypicals to hear about us. But it would be a place where we're able to be ourselves and, you know, through creativity, through programs like painting or learning about aromatherapies that help calm ourselves, calm into a meditation state, and to be able to move forward. I mean, the programs like that could really help us to come together because it will be a place of special interest, you know? Like some days we would have like a day where we would paint, and some days we would have moments where we do meditation and have our talks about our struggles and obstacles and come together to figure out solutions for each other because we're going through different journeys together, but they all follow that same theme of how to go through life as an autistic adult, how to go through life with our sensories and our strengths and weaknesses. So
Exactly. Yeah. Um, that'll be a good program, and I can add like dance to it too. So
exactly.
yeah, it's like that'll be like we can. There's something called art therapy. I don't know if you heard about that, but yeah, there's something called art therapy, which would be
I've actually
super
heard of
helpful.
that.
Yeah, which would be super helpful for the autism community because yeah, we need to take that stemming and put it into something positive. You know, like seriously, like when we talk about special interests, like the autistic mind is just fascinating to me. Like, you know, it's like people look at it as a neurotypical mind, like, oh yeah, he's just interested in that. But I mean, like, we get we just want to learn everything about that one thing though. And we just get so good at it. I mean, it's just incredible, you know? Like it's like a hyper mind. It's like this hyper focus. It's just incredible, you know? Like I had someone told me like I practice more than even the best shufflers. Like I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. But yeah, just that's just an example though. And then your poetry, man. Like, I mean, you're using it's like you're like Shakespeare, man. Like it's like the autistic mind is amazing. Like, stop thinking about all like the society is worried about how we're going to be able to function in this world. That they want us to function the way they want us to function, but like, look at our brilliant minds, though. Look at how brilliant we're just brilliant, you know. Like when you let us like have our accommodations and when you put us in a good environment, we perform well. We really do. And I just wish that people saw that more. And yet, like you said, there needs to be more faith. Yeah, it's like it's sad. Um, and I think this is a good ending question for this interview, and I think it's gonna have us thinking, turning our minds, hearts to minds. Um, would you, if there was a cure for autism, like you can just get rid of it right now, today, if you like took this pill or serum, like or whatever it was, like if you can cure it, would you take it?
Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, our enemies will win. This is the Divergent series in real life. Like the idea of people wanting to cure us, wanting to take away who we are, our special interests, our emotional times, both good and bad. This is war. We're fighting the good fight, and we're going to remind them exactly what it means to be autistic. We're going to show the world the eyes of creativity, the eyes of truth and wonder. Because at the end of the day, they see life through their own eyes, and it's dark, it's chaotic. There is division in our nation of all types, sexuality, race, religion, you name it. But through the eyes of those like us, we don't see different groups. We see a group that can come together. One of my most favorite people ever, and I was inspired by him as a child, was Martin Luther King. And the thing that he said that really struck me to heart was, I have a dream that one day, no matter the race, no matter the color, no matter anything, they will all come together in perfect harmony. And I felt like when he said that, he was implying to us too, because we are that bridge between two worlds. And we alone are going to be the ones that will take the roots of people on the spectrum of different races, of different sexualities, of different religions. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I'm a white male with autism, you are a male with who's of color and black. It doesn't matter if my friend's a woman with ADHD of color. At the end of the day, we are all one soul, one mind, one heart. And we're definitely going to be fighting the good fights. We're definitely going to show that we, as neurodivergents, we are staying, and we're going to be breaking down the old generation's ideologies, and we're making a new one. This war, this fight is not over, and we're just getting started, like you said.
And only the brave ones are here for this. Only the people that are about the future of the autism community. And we all need your help. The whole community, we all need your help to fight this war of being we're being programmed by society to be what they want us, but we have to say no. We have to stand our ground. And like I said, I'll never make the same mistake again of what caring what other people think of me. Like I'm going to be confident, and I want to lead people and empower other um, people on the spectrum to have that same feeling. So um, yeah, and I think that's a powerful statement, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. You put the period at the end of the sentence. You know, um, first of all, I just want to thank you, Blaine, for your time and just your positive energy. I mean, the answers to these questions are incredible. Absolutely love it. And thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching too. This is definitely going to be great. And and I'll remember to put your work, your poetry work in the description. Check that out and support him because he's working hard and like he needs support. He needs support. And yeah, I just want to give back and just because I got a lot of stuff for myself, but I want to see other people on the spectrum, live their dreams, live their special interests without judgment. And yeah, this just been such a wonderful interview, and I appreciate your time, man. And in the future, we gotta make some more content. I think. It's like your mind is like like what you're saying is exactly what I said in my head, but you probably said it a little bit better actually. So I did learn some stuff from you, and this is extremely helpful, and I think I know what to do in the future. You gave me a lot of hope for me um, to be able to serve more people on a bigger scale this time I want to do. So um, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to Up and Ask Me, and thank you again, Blaine, for being on here. Appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you guys in the next video, and we'll we're gonna think of some more topics to talk about to even getting deeper. I mean, we were deep, but I know there's more. There's infinite levels to autism. There's levels, man. So appreciate your time, and like always, Alpine Aspie believes autism is an ability, not a disability, and we're using authenticity to bring autism awareness to the world. Thanks.